back straight, eyes closed, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling that power you have, your determination to control your breathing. The same way you can take control of your mind anywhere you are, whatever you're doing. Let's use that same power, that same determination to see in our mind the image, the visions that we want to create today in our lives. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can on all of the stretches and exercises we do together here and now. Let's use that power we have, our true being, our presence, our determination to see in our mind right now, go into the future. Think about what you want to make real. Bring it to the present. And that music goes off.
Magic System, Red One, Shaoki. Hey, yo, Salifan. Feel the magic. Comme d'habitude, on est calé. Ça va aller. On te met l'ambiance à gogo. Tous ensemble on fait le show.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis, c'est bien faire la folie.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis. Oh, 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 oh. C'est pas seulement pour les bobos. Nous on vient dans nos mambo. Mon ami, si tu as le niveau, rejoins-nous pour t'enjailler.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis, et viens faire la folie.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis. Oh, 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 oh. Fa adesso.
Eccolo Messi, sinistro e gol.
Rivelando un
Good morning, guys. Today, Conor McGregor reminds us to create our own path. And this one is very challenging for us, especially with all the cultural pressures, our current physical environment, things that we've been conditioned with, or things that we're used to. But Conor McGregor reminds us what has worked for him and has made him so successful. He gives us the example of him not wanting to settle for being a plumber. And there's nothing wrong with being a plumber. But for him, that wasn't his own path. He knew he had to create his own. He knew he had to pursue his dream of fighting. And for us, how can we apply this to our lives today? We may be doing something right now that could be a stepping stone towards our real path. We got to remember that we are so unique and therefore have our own path. And we have to be okay with that. So let's remember that today. Have a great morning, everyone.
The quality of your life is dependent upon the quality of your habits. It's simple as that. And I mean that whether it's health habits, whether it's financial habits. I mean, even the financial world, I say that your financial issues are a product of your behaviors, which are a product of your habits, your relationship habits. So, I mean, if there are things in our lives that we're not happy with, that we seem to be falling flat on, that we seem to be not excelling at, then we need to examine the habits, the things that are going on unconsciously that we're just kind of going through our life. And so one of the things that I started to look at in June of 2019, they found what turned out to be a 7.5 centimeter tumor in my bladder. By all statistical definitions, by all expectations, I shouldn't have a bladder right now. Okay. And they told me that, but I said, absolutely not. I'm going to beat this. We're going to find a way to beat it. Now some of the things that I did were Western medicine, Eastern. I hit it with everything. Holistic. I have a holistic oncologist, acupuncture, chiropractics, Qigong. I mean, I hit it with everything. Now, the great news is that obviously we conquered it. I'm 2 years clear. As of May 6th, I was 2 years clear of the cancer after, the 47 treatments and 3 surgeries and 4 tumors and all of that stuff. And the doctors looked at me. My surgeon at the last scope, he looked at me and he said, I've never had a patient approach this the way you did. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, they just kind of go along their road. I tell them to stop drinking. I tell them to stop smoking, and they just keep going. And he says, you approach it very differently. And I said, here's how I looked at it. And because I sat with my doctors, I said, I used to fight competitively. And when I fought competitively, I would get in the ring, but in my corner, I had a footwork guy. I had a strength guy. I had a hand speed guy. I had all these people in my corner that made me as strong as possible to be in the game. And I sat with my doctors and I said, here's the deal. This is another fight. I'm getting back in the ring. But this time it's for my life. You can't fight it for me. I don't expect any doctor to make me healthy. I expect you all to guide me, to strengthen me, to tell me what I need to do, and I will create the habits to make it happen, and I'll get in that ring, and we'll beat this thing. I said, are you game? And that's the way we approached it. And he said, I've never had anyone do that. And he said, I would have thought when I first saw the CT scan that we would be having a different conversation. I said, that conversation wasn't even in my mind. So when we look at habit building in my eyes, the first thing that we need to do is figure out the why. My why with the cancer was I want to live. I literally looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I love life too much to give it up. I love life. I love my wife. I love my son, my soon to be granddaughter, before she was born, the friends, the experiences. I love life too much to give it up. So I had to have a why, but that's the thing that drove me. It wasn't, and look, I don't know what the message was. I've taken messages from the cancer. I don't know if it was one of those things that years and decades ago, God sent a pebble my way to give me a hint of what I needed to focus on, and I ignored it. And then he sent a rock, and then he said, well, shoot, Mel's not paying attention. Let's send the boulder. And they did it in the form of cancer, but it woke me up. It woke me up, and it woke me up to the why and the things that are important in our life. If there are habits that you need to have in place, figure out why. It's not because you want something. It's not because of you want to acquire something. What's the why? So that's the first step. The second step, I think, is to declare it. I think it's to declare it. Declare it first to yourself. My dear friend Mel Robbins, she says, get in the mirror and high five yourself. Declare it to yourself. I will not let this cancer beat me. I needed to make that declaration to myself. Otherwise, I wasn't going to walk the path. What is it in your health? What is it in your life? What is it in your world that you need to declare to yourself, and then declare it to others? To create, and this leads me to number 3 on this, is to create an accountability for it. So with the cancer, I ended up connecting with a guy who happened to be on the East Coast, and I literally was recording everything I ate. Okay, we cut out sugars, we cut out grains, we cut out dairy, and I recorded everything I ate. Not only did I record everything I ate, I recorded everything I did. I use a Whoop. If you don't use it, it records everything from sleep to oxygenation, my temperature, my heart rate, my resting heart rate, all the things. And it was going to him also. So if I wasn't sleeping well, it's called a Whoop, WHOOP. And it was going to him. If I didn't sleep well and I was in the red zone, I'd get a text in the morning. Hey man, let's talk. Hey man, what's going on? And so I want to make sure that whatever habits I put in place, I make myself accountable, and I give myself an accountability system to make sure that it's going to happen. Now, all of those things are great, but none of them do anything until step number 4, and that is to figure out the action steps. What are the 3 to 5 things that you need to do to get this habit ingrained into your life? Well, one of the first things, we cleaned out the cabinets. We got rid of all the junk food. And I ate healthy, but I had a sweet tooth, okay? We got rid of everything. We changed everything. I restructured my life so I could go see the doctor, so I could go through the treatment, so I could do the meditation, so I could do all of the things. But I specifically said there is 3 to 5 things I need to do each and every day, the changes. And at the beginning, I did it as a checklist. Now, today, it's part of my life. There was a checklist. It was literally on my office, and I would check it off. I did it. My accountability person, I did it. My wife was amazing. So once I have the action steps, then we got to deal with this devil. And the devil is removing the friction that's in your life, removing temptation. Listen, on the financial side, when someone has a spending problem with their credit cards, and they go, I can't give up my credit cards. I can't give up a credit. Okay, great. I don't want you to give up your credit cards. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take those credit cards. I want you to put them in a coffee can. I want you to fill the coffee can with water. I want you to put that in the freezer. The next time you want to make a purchase with that credit card, you pull that coffee can out of the freezer. Since it's a coffee can, you cannot put it in the microwave, so it sits there for a day or 2 days for it to defrost. And when you get those credit cards out, if you still want to make the purchase, go ahead. But my guess is you will have thought it through. But too often, the good stuff in our life has friction. To go to the gym in the morning, I get up at 4:30 every morning. I'm at the gym by 5 a.m. Okay. In order to remove the friction of, oh God, it's 4:30, I got to get up and go to the gym. Clothes are ready. Things are dialed in. My water's ready. My supplements are ready. Everything's ready. I'm like a fireman. I can jump out of bed, jump in the shoes, jump in the sweats, out the door. I'm at the gym. Remove the friction from doing the habits so it makes it easy. And the last step of this, of creating habits, is this. Forget about others. Forget what you see on social media. Forget what other people are telling you. You find your truth, your North Star, and you stay true to it.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up.
Cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. Let's have some fun. To the left now. To the right. Now take your left hand and put it on your side. Gon' roll your shoulders, do the slip and slide. This next part's my favorite part, cause it's time to shine. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. It's simple, you can do it. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Now cool down, have a good time. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Do the butterfly, have a good time. Round, round, round and round you go. It's time to show out right now and take to the floor. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. Take it down now, take it down now. Take it down now, take it down now. Bring it up now, bring it up now. Bring it up now, bring it up now. Take it down and crisscross. Bring it up now, crisscross. Do whatever you like right here. Just have fun. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it? That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it? That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it? That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it? Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Grande ala questo qua.
Messi cerca l'1-2, Messi, ancora Messi, la doppietta di Leo Messi. Siamo agli sgoccioli.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you doing today? How is your path going? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, are you thinking about creating your own unique path? If you're not, get back at it again. This is one of the most difficult things for us to remember because our tendency as human beings is to want to feel loved, to want to feel accepted, to want to fit in, to want to just go with the flow. And that's okay to a certain extent, but deep down inside, we're meant to be unique. We're meant to find our own path. So get back at it again today, at least in your mind. Start thinking, start believing, start showing that determination in your mind to continue to create your own path. It could be in your current job or in your current relationship, whatever you're doing. Think about how you can be your true, unique self in every decision, choice, and thought you have. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
The universe has got this, principle that you get more of anything when you show you can manage what you've got. So when we can go, and starting with no matter how small the starting point is, when we can start with that, because a lot of people go, oh, well, I'll learn about investing or managing money when I've got some. It's the wrong way around. When we can actually set up, even with it's that first $10, $5, how do we manage it? What are the different component parts of my life and my business that I need that money to serve? Understanding what its role is in your life.
You ever see that show Deadliest Catch on TV? That's what I used to do for 7 years. And at this point, I had had a life-changing incident, almost losing my life, and now I realize that, it is time to make this transition. I'm gonna start my own business. Now, I won't say that it wasn't scary. It was. There was a certain amount of fear with that. But
Money Revealed is an exclusive video series where self-made millionaires share their secrets on how they got rich. In this episode, you'll learn how to fix your beliefs around money, structure your business, and build an audience for your brand. These are the lessons that they don't teach you in school about making money. And we partnered with the series creator Jeff Hayes to bring it to you on my YouTube channel. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Ann Wilson, and I'm the author of The Wealth Chef and the company The Wealth Chef. And through the company, we teach people about money. Actually, not just how to make it, but what to do with it, and then how to make sure that it's sustainable and can actually create wealth, rather than just this endless consuming and breaking the poverty cycle. Money is one of the most important ingredients, I believe, that we have to really live a great life. But it's one of the ones we're least taught about, educators, in terms of what do we actually do with it? What are the different ways that we manage it, combine it with other ingredients to create this outcome? And so The Wealth Chef is all about looking at different recipes. And if you want to learn something new, and I love food, I pick up a recipe book and there's no anxiety or stress about it. I go, okay, what are the ingredients I need? What's the process? Are there other tools I need? And the more I learned my own money journey, that actually about being great with money, creating sustainable wealth, getting out of debt, investing, actually follows a whole key set of steps, which also has specific ingredients, specific processes. And when we can look at it that way, a lot of the anxiety and stress about I'm going to get it wrong can be removed and go, okay, it's just a process I can follow. And the more I do it, the better I'm going to get. And soon I won't even need the recipe. And so using that analogy and really linking it with this ingredient of creating a great life. This aspect of anxiety linked with money is such an important aspect to get away, because this is where also a lot of people can have a lot of money, but they don't necessarily get rid of this anxiety around it. And then that is not really wealth. And for me, the key thing is really about how do we create a relationship and with understanding and knowledge about how money really works, what we can actually do with it, and shift this relationship from being a servant to money, working for the money, to actually being the master to it. And where money can then be a great servant, a great supporter with clear direction, shifts that anxiety, that unknown, that feeling of vulnerability. And this is a huge aspect for a lot of women and around the world. And this is, I think, where we come to true wealth, as opposed to having a large amount of money. This relationship with money is the thing that can create real wealth. And as you said, that whole aspect of how do you stop digging in that hole in debt, which is so key to be able to start climbing out of something. You've got to put the spade down. You've got to stop digging. You're never going to dig your way out of debt. This is where so much the relationship with money, the aspect of wealth is so much, a good 80% is behavioral, emotional, psychological, and you can follow a set of tactics. And that's why a lot of people might try certain things, but unless they really deal with the relationship aspect, the meaning they give to this overwhelm that somehow money can be scary, or the conflict around it. And a lot of it is also about where the focus is. So dealing with those beliefs around money, and beliefs that actually it is possible to change the story. And as woo-woo as that might sound, this really having to believe that there is a different way, that it's not that debt is just the way of the world. There's no point trying a different reality, or for the likes of me, or for those people, maybe for somebody else. But really going, actually, there is a different recipe, there is a different plan, and first believing that, and then from that place going, okay, how do I change it? And coming back to that anxiety issue, you can actually get rid of the anxiety really quickly, not waiting until you're out of debt, but just that empowerment that comes with having a plan. And part of having that plan is having to know actually where you're at. And this is such a big step for so many people, is actually going, okay, you know what? I'm in debt. Get over it. No guilt, no shame. Actually, let's see what I've got. Let's see what the real picture is. Shine that light. And then from that, you can start a plan. And when you've got that in place, then the anxiety goes, because now you're shifting it. You're taking back the control. And clarity is power in almost every aspect. And it's really, and I talk about just shining the light in that dark, scary place. So often we grow up and we see these shadows and these monsters in our own mind. We can make things seem a lot worse than they are. And this can also cause paralysis. So not taking any action and not changing that path. So this is such a key step, is to go, okay, let's just see what my money story is in every aspect. Let's just get it all out on the table, because then you can start doing something about it. But there's a second part of the clarity, is actually the clarity of knowing what it is you're aiming for. And this is one of the reasons why I believe 95% of people never achieve financial freedom. They never actually get onto a path of getting that place where money is actually working for them and supporting them, because they don't know what there is. And this comes back to, we're just financially illiterate. We're not spoken about these things. So there's clarity of where I am now and where I need to be. And then all the strategies and bits and pieces can be put in place. And this 99% place for me is one of the tragedies, I think, but also the huge opportunities, is just with a little bit of financial literacy, just about looking at money and wealth from a different perspective can, in a heartbeat, change a person's reality. But, and this is a big but, it has to require such a mindset shift around the way our entire education system is structured, the way people are not taught about how money really works and what to do with it. So our education system is all designed to teach people to earn an income. And it's about what career you're going to follow, how you're going to keep upskilling yourself. It's all about what more you can earn. But nowhere is going, well, then what? You've brought money in. Now what do you do with it? The only other pattern is taught to consume it so that you stay in this vicious poverty cycle of this churning. But there's this other aspect that we've even now, that model of producing these income earners is now starting to fail, because the whole model of the world. So there's two aspects that I really believe we need to address. One is the front end. How do people bring money into their life? And I'm using that bringing in rather than sort of the earning. And then what do we do with it? Because unless you've got both sides, you never get to that 1% or shift this whole side, because people just stay in the same vicious cycle. So I think the two key parts about finding this balance, finding the recipe around sustainable wealth, the wealth part where, this is starting to shift the mentality, because a lot of people think, if I could just earn more, then my money problems will be solved. Look at the lottery win or the big business that might be sold. But this is not the solution, because it never deals with what do you do with the money. And this is about how do we create something that stays in your life, that can then work for you, and shifting that relationship with money. So that front end, that first part of that solution is start shifting away from being that education, which is teaching people to serve, to fill a role, again, almost being the servant, how to earn money, as opposed to how to make it and bring it in. And really looking at each of us, I believe, we have this greatest business that we can ever opportunity to have, called the business called our own lives. So I'm, Ann Wilson Inc. And when we can start seeing ourselves from an entrepreneurial side as our business, with our money aspect of our business, the key indicators of what is our own income statement, what comes in, what goes out, do I make a profit each and every month of my life? And then as a result of my money actions, am I ensuring that my net worth is growing, that I actually have assets that can sustain me? So with that shifting mindset, we can then go, okay, from the earnings side, we really think about product value. Whether, even if you're an income earner as a wage earner working for somebody, it's still ultimately a value exchange. And when we can shift to that mindset, to bring it in and then go, okay, how do I magnify that? How do I add more value to the company that employs me or to my customers, those sides? Shifting that mindset. But then once money comes in, now a whole different set of conversations. And this is where the leadership comes in with money and takes away that anxiety, going actually an empowerment, going, I have choice. And when we start understanding money as this unbelievable magical seed, that if it's given the right environment, if it's just given a bit of direction and leadership, it can go on and earn us way more money and wealth than we can ever do it actively. And this is what I find so tragic, is so many people just never taught how to convert a small amount of that money that comes into their life into something that gets to stay in their life and works for them. And so this anxiety around, this barbaric recipe that I believe is absolutely barbaric, that so much of our education system is based on, is work really hard, study so you can get a good job, so you can earn, hopefully you can save a little bit, and at the end of it all, maybe you can live and do some of those things you want to do, and then hopefully you run out before the money does. No wonder there's stress and anxiety around this. And for me, the tragedy is here, again, it comes back to clarity. A lot of people have no idea, again, understanding how money works. So we have this mindset that is also all about, spend less than you earn, live below your means, and save for your retirement so that you don't end up destitute and, feeding bread to the pigeons off a park bench. But the challenge with this is, again, it never teaches people about how to actually convert money into something that can work for us. Saving has a place in a wealth plan, but that is not about creating wealth. And then people look at, earning the interest or this measly side, but which with a few skills and actually going, how do I convert this into something that truly works for me? Then the anxiety can go, because then we can understand how to get money to be that earner for us. And this for me is the tragedy. And there are people who've worked their entire lives, thought that they were following the right recipe, the company 401k or the side, to find now that either it's not enough, or in most cases there is enough. But because they don't know what to do with it, to leverage it and get it working, they live in this terrifying scarcity place. Around the world, this whole wealth gap issue is getting more and more airtime, and the differential is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And it is a massive problem, and it needs to be adjusted. I think the problem is so much of the conversation has been around how do we redistribute, how do we rebalance, as though the first premise is that somehow there's a scarce, limited supply, and somehow some naughty people have taken too much of their pie. And that to me is a fundamentally flawed premise. The second premise also comes from the assumption that then that 99% does not have unlimited potential to actually create and expand and bring value. So it's almost this belittling view of, well, let's do some redistribution because you're not from a place of empowerment. I think we've got to fundamentally look at this wealth gap from a completely different direction and look at how are we educating people? How are we actually creating and growing them to be people who can take ownership of their life, create massive value, learn about leveraging money, creating value, and shifting this mindset that actually is, getting a bit woo-woo, but this abundance of opportunity out there, that redistribution doesn't solve any problem. It just keeps manifesting and keeps everybody stuck in that broken side. Rather, lift up and expand.
Take my horse through the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse through the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the back, horse stock is attached. Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match. Riding on a horse, ha, you can whip your Porsche. I've been in the valley, you ain't been up off that porch now. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Riding on a tractor, lean all in my bladder. Cheated on my baby, you can go and ask her. My life is a movie, but riding in cowboy hat from Gucci, Wrangler on my. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Hat down, cross town, living like a rock star. Spend a lot of money on my brand new guitar. Baby's got a habit, diamond rings and Fendi sports bras. Riding down Rodeo in my Maserati sports car. Got no stress, I've been through all that. I'm like a Marlboro man, so I keep going back. Wish I could roll on back to that old town road. I wanna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
Un'altra grande esibizione del Barcellona. Colpo di tacco per liberare Messi, porta vuota, eccola la tripletta.
Attenzione.
Good evening, guys. Creating our own unique path is a very challenging thing, but it comes from understanding that we are each unique in every thought, experience, choice we've made in our life. And that's where we have to embrace and accept that. And in terms of my personal life story, the reason why I'm so passionate about filling our minds with positive thought energy is because I've seen the power of our thoughts. I've experienced the benefits and the drawbacks of not having or having the correct and accurate way of thinking. So I want to help you with this, and I hope that you are inspired to be your true great self through your own unique path. So hopefully today you had that chance to apply it, but if not today, tomorrow's another day. Get back at it again. Never give up on finding your own unique path. Have a good evening, everyone.
I don't believe in the concept of strengths and weaknesses. Everything has context. I believe we have attributes, we have characteristics that we have to know, and in some contexts, those attributes are strengths, and in sometimes they're weaknesses. I am chronically disorganized, and I've always thought of this as a weakness. So I was at a networking event many years ago, and I met a guy, and he's like, "Simon, you're fantastic. Would love to work with you. Here's my card." And if I was organized, I'd be texting from the cab on the way home or emailing the next day when I get to work, of course. But I'm disorganized. I lost the business card almost immediately. 2 weeks later, I found the business card at the bottom of a briefcase. And so I emailed him. I said, "I don't know if you remember me. We met 2 weeks ago. I'd love to reconnect." And he wanted to work with me more because he thought I was busy. So is being disorganized a strength or a weakness? The answer is it depends. In that context, it was actually a strength. In different contexts, when somebody says, "I need you to get this done by this time," it can be a liability. So what stacking the deck means is putting yourself in situations where your attributes are more likely to reveal themselves as strengths, and try and avoid situations where your attributes are more likely to pull you back.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit on my business partner, and the thing that kept me motivated, that kept me going, was studying the stories of famous, successful entrepreneurs. And in their stories, it gave me the hope, the drive, the ambition, the thinking that maybe I can do it too, that extra bit of belief. And I still need their stories today, and I'm honored to share them with you here as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Simon Sinek, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
So stacking the deck is not about cheating. It's about making sure that you're in the right place that make you strong and avoiding the places that make you weak. So for example, if you're bad at math, don't do jobs that require lots of math. Right?
Right. Yes.
It's I know it sounds trite, but
no, it's true.
It's sometimes that silly, I love working with others. I love working on teams, right? And so when a project comes up, I always make sure that I have a group that I can work with because I know I'll do better work. If I work by myself, it's more stressful and the work is a lower standard. And so I know that about me. I know that I like working with people. So I stack the deck. I try very hard to work at least with one other person or to work on a team to complete a project, right?
Right.
As opposed to leave this to me, I'll get this done by myself. Some people, that is their strength to work by themselves, not me.
Right.
So again, I try and stack the deck by working with people as often as possible when I have difficult things to do.
Rule number 2 is learn from other players.
I don't believe in the sense of competition. We live in a world where there's no such thing as winning business. It doesn't exist, right? Where two organizations who sell basically the same product for basically the same price, basically the same quality, can both be wildly successful simultaneously. There's no winning. And so when companies talk about their competition, to me it doesn't make sense because competition, a competitor, is another player you want to try and beat, which means you spend too much time focusing on what they're doing, and you spend too much time comparing arbitrary metrics, whether it's profits or revenues or market share or number of properties or number of employees or whatever it is, they're arbitrary. You get to pick what you're making the comparison, and you're all proud of yourself when you win at the end of the year, but the game doesn't end. I prefer the concept of a worthy rival. And a worthy rival is another, they may or may not be in your industry, but it's another player in the game who does one or many things better than you. In other words, their strengths reveal to you your weaknesses. And you can study them, you can be grateful for them, but trying competing against them is pointless. But the whole idea is that the only true competitor in the game of business is yourself. How do we improve what we're doing? And learn from those who do similar things to us rather than trying to beat them.
How do we focus on what we can do better versus how we can beat our competitors?
Right. Well, as I said before, pick you can pick your own worthy rivals. You can pick any company for any reason and say they're better than us. What can we learn from them? I'll give you a real life story that really captured this for me, and it's in the book, but I'll tell it to you. I spoke at a education summit for Microsoft. And then a few months later, I was invited to speak at an education summit for Apple. At the Microsoft Summit, this back in the Steve Ballmer days. In the Microsoft Summit, the vast majority of the presentations by the executives spent most of their time talking about how to beat Apple. At the Apple Summit, 100% of the presentations were how to help teachers teach and how to help students learn. One was obsessed with beating their competition, the other one was obsessed with advancing their mission. At the end of my talk at Microsoft, they gave me a gift. They gave me the Zune when it was a thing. This was Microsoft's response to the iPod. And this little piece of technology, I have to say, was really very, very good. It was quite a good little piece of technology. It didn't work on an Apple, so I couldn't use it. That's a different problem. But it was very good. So at the end of my Apple talk, I was sharing a taxi with an Apple executive, and I couldn't help myself. I just had to stir the pot. And I turned to him, I go, you know, Microsoft gave me their new Zune, and it is so much better than my iPod Touch. And he turned to me and he said, I have no doubt. And the conversation was over. Because he understood, this was an infinite-minded organization, he understood that sometimes your competitor will do something better than you, and sometimes you'll be better than them. There's no such thing as winning or losing. There's only ahead and behind. And where Microsoft was obsessed with beating Apple, Apple was obsessed with outdoing itself. And so the great irony is just a couple years after that, Apple released the iPhone. So where Microsoft was obsessing with how to make a better iPod, Apple was on to the next thing, didn't even care. And that's the whole idea, which is absolutely study and learn from the other players. You see, I don't even call them competitors. The other players in your industry. See what they're doing better. Like I said, it reveals your weaknesses and say, we can do better than ourselves. Grow. Eventually, they no longer become worthy of comparison anymore because you advance yourselves. But the whole idea is Apple was thinking about what they could do next, not how they could beat Microsoft to get more market share for an iPod.
So learn from others and how you can be better.
Absolutely. Like I said, their strengths reveal to your weaknesses, and that's a gift.
Rule number 3 is be a good listener. When you find darkness, however you want to define your darkness, you feel alone, you feel like nobody can help you, you feel like you have no agency, you feel like a lack of control. And the first thing that a lot of us should do is reach out to a friend and say, I'm struggling, or I need help, or I'm lonely, or I'm depressed, or I'm sad, whatever the feeling is. And that person, do your friends, do your colleagues, do your teachers have the skills to know how to hold space. So the first mistake people make is they try and fix. Don't try and fix. It's not a fixing thing, It's like I had a bad day at the gym. Nothing to fix, nothing to fix. But then do you know how to listen? Do you know how to hold space? And I think one of the reasons more of us are struggling with mental fitness is because we ourselves lack the skills to help our friends who are struggling with mental fitness. And the more that we as a society are equipped to help each other, the more that there are other people there to help us. Mm. So, and I have a rule with my friends. My rule is no crying alone. My close friends all know this, and we all obey it. Like I'll get a call from somebody who's a significant person in the world that people know who they are, and they'll call me and say, do you have a minute? And I'll be like, yeah, what's up? They're like, I think I need to cry. I'm like, go. What's on your mind? And they'll tell me what's on their mind and they will cry. And that's my rule. My rule with my friends is no crying alone. Because if you're at the point of absolute frustration, exhaustion, whatever it is that you can't hold it in, I'd rather you call me or one of us and you do it with somebody. You should never cry alone. And so I'm really good when I'm in a place like this of calling somebody and telling them, because I don't want to go through this alone. And some of my friends do have the skills where they can say, how do you feel? Oh, this is how I feel. That must be really frustrating. Yeah, it's really hard. Tell me more about that. Well, I'm sort of going through this and that. And they know how to hold space. That's all I need. I need somebody to sit in the mud with me. Don't need them to fix me or clean me off or give me a towel. I just need them to sit in the mud with me so I don't feel alone when I'm sitting in the mud. And I think it's our responsibility to be able to have that skill set to do it for our friends and the people we love or our colleagues. Rule number 4 is overcome the fear of change.
There's this phrase that's thrown around so often that people fear change. No, they don't. People fear sudden change.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, many of the people in your organization, many of them have been doing the job the way they've always been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And now we're going to say, okay, it's going to be all different. The fear is not from the change. The fear is from the unfamiliarity. The fear is that I know how to do that really, really well. And I fear that I don't know how to do that. And I will feel insecure. I'll be off my game. I'll lose my credibility. And you just have to put yourself in their shoes. The fear is being humiliated. I don't understand the jargon. It's all new. It's a whole host of things. So empathy is king. Empathy is king, and not assuming that everybody knows. And people come along with new directions at different paces. We kind of assume it's like getting into shape. Everybody goes to the gym, but some people get into shape quicker than others. There's no rule. It's just how it works. And it's the same here. Some people come along lickety-split, and some people are just a little slower. The ones that are potentially destructive are the ones that are so afraid that they actually put up barriers and become obstreperous. They actually resist the change to the point where they're clinging onto the past so desperately that they may accidentally sabotage themselves. And those are the ones that we have to have difficult conversations with. We sit down and say, I need to have a difficult conversation with you. I get a sense that you're struggling because everything we're trying to do, all you do is say no. Yep. And I understand it's difficult, but we got to talk about this because the company is going in this direction and I want you to be a part of this, but I am patient. And to have that conversation privately with empathy, that someone can come clean and say, I'm scared, because then you can hold their hand, So I think empathy is actually the core to helping people manage change.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is have empathy. When you're
Feel that? Feel that power? That oneness of us controlling our breathing and our minds? Right here, right now? No matter how hard our movements, exercises were today, no matter how much our body tried to take control of our minds, feel that? That's you. The real you. That's our consciousness. Our being awake fully. To control our minds, to control our breathing, to control our bodies, to control our lives. It's all possible through the power of you being present, staying in the now, right here, right now, wherever you are, wherever you are. There is no past and future right now. There's only the present, the gift that is you. The being that is you, which makes everything else possible. See, right here, right now, pure happiness, pure winning, pure essence, pure determination of who and what we really are. With this power, this peace, right here in this moment right now, we can always have all the mind health, and even greater, the mind wealth we were built for. I love your determination. Great.